Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. The marine layer is pulling out. We have some sunshine up here on the hill. We can see not quite forever, but quite a distance. And and it's lovely and it's Sunday and here we are. Yay us. Thank you for taking the time out on a beautiful Sunday to spend some time with us, with the spiritual family. Thank you for being here. You add a great deal to what's happening. Hello, Laura. Hello, Brenda. Happy day to you as well, my dear. It's um, it's Sunday, and here we are. Don't you love it? I love it. I love Sundays. I love Sundays and Wednesdays. They're probably my two favorite days for any number of reasons, but mostly because it's an opportunity for us to be together, to talk about what we believe in, to get a spiritual boost, to remember what's true and what's important, and why we're here. Not just here on Facebook, but here on the planet. Why our spirits have chosen this point in time to be here. Do you ever give that some thought? Why me? Why here? Why now? Not in that way that we have of asking those exact same questions when something's going wrong, but in that way that we have of asking those questions when we need answers. Why me? Why here? Why now? Why now? Happy Sunday, Dana. Glad you're here. Happy Sunday, Lainey. How fun is all of this? I just love our getting together. It's good for all of us. I think I know it's good for me, and I trust it's good for you, or you would be doing something else. So I'm very glad that you're here. Dana, how's the heart going? How's your little heart? We've been praying for you and for Frodo on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge, and knowing that he was met with an onslaught of people happy to see him, furry people, four-legged people just thrilled to see him, and welcomed him to the playland on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge. So I hope you're doing well as well. Good morning, Jennifer. Yes, it is a beautiful morning, and we are, all of us, beautiful in it. Are we not? Beautiful spirits doing beautiful things, thinking beautiful thoughts, making the world a better place just by believing in it and ourselves and our ability. I haven't checked yet, Jennifer. How many days have we got to the election? I depend upon you to keep me posted, or I would be counting them out every day on my own. But it's so much more fun to go to your Facebook page and see what else you say besides just being a calendar, because it's always uplifting. Ah, Dana, yes, I got it. Why are some harder than others? I don't know. I don't know. Some you just say, okay, it's time, and you can let them go, and others it's like somebody's taking your heart and pulling it apart. So I get it. I get it. Yeah, one day at a time. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. And then Spirit will lead you. I know that. I know that. So we know Frodo's fine. Now we just have to take care of Frodo's mommy. And And we will do that. We will do that with love and with prayers and with virtual hugs. What is a virtual hug? Take that. Take that, please. And day 37, thank you, Jennifer. 37. Gasp. Work to be done. Things to do, people to see, things to talk about. And vote, 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 vote. Even the president has said that this may be the most important election in history. I don't disagree with him on that one issue. I'm not going to talk politics. There's enough of that out there. Let's talk spirit. Let's talk spirit. You know, I have found over the many years, I did a wedding yesterday, and someone said, how long have you been doing weddings? And the words that came out of my mouth shocked me. And I said, well, it's been 30 years or more now. I can still remember the very first one. Vividly. Vividly. In fact, I remember most of them vividly. I remember a couple of you very vividly because it was my honor to do your wedding. But 30 years! Good God! I mean, good God. That's it's a long time to be doing anything, let alone weddings. And you know, I get almost just as excited about them today as I ever have. I love that. They're all different. The people are all different. The stuff that happens is all different. You know, I've had weddings where the bride says, "Well, everybody's here. Let's just do it ahead of time." And then I have done weddings like the one yesterday that we were all waiting around because the bride wasn't there yet. It was a very informal but very lovely wedding, and the maid of honor pointed out that the bride is always late, and she, you know, it's true to form. Um, and I think the groom was already used to that because he didn't seem to be terribly bothered by it. None of us were. It was a lovely day and the weather was nice, and it was very pleasant where we were. Um, you're doing such good work, Jennifer. You aren't just trying, honey. You're doing it. Yes, we need to stay true to our principles. We all do. Dana says I do good weddings. I think I do. I like to think I do. Jennifer agrees, since you two are the ones that I have married, not to each other, of course. Um, looky, looky, makes me happy. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. So, what I want to talk about today is changing your mind. Yeah, I know I talk about changing your mind all the time. Um, but what I've discovered in these 30 some years of talking about this stuff and teaching this stuff and practicing this stuff is that a lot of people will come up to me, usually after, not during, but after, or sometime later, and say, How do I change my mind? And it's easy to be flip and say it's like turning off a switch, and on one level, it is. It really is. You decide to do it, you go do it. Change your mind. I'm not going to believe that anymore. I'm going to believe this. It may take a while for that to sink into your subconscious and your subconscious to let go. Those of you who are here with us this morning already know about the swamp keepers. So, you know, there's that little guy who likes to maintain the status quo and says, you can't just flick a switch and change your mind. You can, of course, but he fights that idea and he's in there. But it's a decent question. See, it really is a decent question. How do I change my mind? How do I let go of something I've believed or thought was true for God knows how long? I mean, maybe your parents gave it to you. Maybe it's been 30 years or more. Or maybe it's something that you picked up fairly recently, but it seemed so right at the time that that you find it hard to let go of. So that's what I want to talk to you about this morning. How to change your mind. How to accomplish that. So, you know, if you've been hanging around with me for any length of time, you know that I'm a big believer in the creative power of belief. In fact, if I had to sum up everything I believe in like a 30-second elevator pitch, I'd probably say, what is it? Everything that is an expression of spirit. And all that spirit is and all that spirit can be is contained within that. Like the drop of ocean water contains only ocean. We contain only spirit and all of its attributes. And through the power of our belief, there's that word, we direct and use those attributes to create our lives. Yeah, that's an elevator pitch. That would work. And should the other person in the elevator ask what is spirit, I would reply the same way I have for over 30 years. Spirit is the creative, motivating force of the universe. And we can and do use it to create according to our belief. It is done unto us as we believe. It's biblical. If you need a source, Matthew 8:13. Go, let it be done just as you believed it would. Let it be done just as you believed it would. Matthew 9:29. According to your faith be it done unto you. Matthew 21:22. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer, if you believe. Oh, there's a ton more, especially in Matthew. And there's a lot more that are not necessarily in Matthew, but I'm a big fan of Matthew and his clarity. You don't have to do any translation. You don't have to say, well, what might that mean? He's real clear. So, well, I'm also a fan of Seth Godin. Godin. I own most of his books. He's hard to keep up with. I don't own them all. I subscribe to Tut, which is his online daily thought that just blows me away day after day. And I get his daily blog, which is a longer version. The man's a word machine. More than that, he's a thought machine. Not only does he clearly think a lot, he makes you think. Well, he makes me think. And although my thinking may at times be uniquely my own, his thinking is nearly always right on. So I wasn't surprised when his blog called Dancing with Belief struck a chord with me. It made me instantly think that his ideas absolutely needed to be the basis of a talk. So, he consistently writes about the power of believing in yourself, believing in a power bigger than you are, believing that you can do anything. And he talks about the creative power of our thinking and how to harness that power for good. So, given that we've checked with the experts, Matthew and company, we'll start with the premise that it's done unto us as we believe. Okay? So far, so good, isn't it? Or is it? Is it good? Or doesn't the goodness of it depend on what it is that you believe? Let's start there. Seth starts his blog out by saying, all of us believe things that might be inconsistent. That is, they may not be based on how the real world actually works, or they may not be shared by others. That, he says, is what makes us human. And since it is done unto us as we believe, if we are seeking change in our lives, and most of us are seeking to at least make something better, some of us are seeking to make everything better, he suggests that there are a few questions we can ask ourselves about our beliefs that might help us create the change that we seek. And his questions are so eminently sensible and simple and to the point that I was disappointed that I hadn't thought of them myself sooner. He's good. But Seth has a way of doing that, of stating the truth in such a way that it seems like a blinding flash of the obvious. Often, when I've carried on about the power of constructive belief and changing our minds so that we are thinking constructively, someone will ask a simple question. How? How do I do that? How do I change my mind? Now, I don't have a template, or I haven't had a template. But now, thanks to Seth, I have Socratically a few questions that made me think, and I trust will make you think, about why you may have some beliefs that are getting in the way of creating the life you dream of. So my first question is this. In an area of your life where you would like to make some adjustments, what is it that you believe? Take just a second and find an area. It doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't even have to be all messed up. Just something you'd like to have be better. And what are the first few thoughts that come to you when I say, what do you believe? See if you can get past the right answers to give your religious science minister and kind of dig in there. What do you believe about that? And then we're going to enlist Seth Power by asking his thought-provoking, quite possibly life-changing, and more importantly, belief-changing questions. So his first question is this: your belief. Is it working for you? Seth says, if your belief is working for you, if it's helping you navigate a crazy world, and if it's helping you to find solace, and if it's not hurting anyone else, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Often, he says, beliefs are about finding human connection and a way to tell ourselves about our place in the world. Not necessarily as a accurate predictive insight as to what is actually happening. And that may not be important. Beliefs, he says, are almost always about community, about being part of something. So we connect with one another on a belief level. And that can be a very good thing. That would go in your pro list. This is a good thing about that belief. Then he asks, number 2 question, does your belief support you in the world? What does he mean by that? Well, he goes on to say air traffic controllers and meteorologists rarely believe that the earth is flat. It's a belief that would get in the way of being competent at their work. You can see that, I'm sure. If your beliefs are getting in the way of your work, or your health, or the health of those around you, or of your ability to be a contributing citizen, then it might be worth examining why you have those beliefs and how they got there. Did you decide to have them? Did you do your research and determine that they were valid? Or did someone with an agenda that doesn't match yours promote them? We can see that at work in the world, can't we? Certainly in politics you can see that at work. People promoting ideas that serve their agenda while maybe not necessarily supporting those to whom they are promoting the idea. Were the beliefs that you have, was the belief that you're looking at gifted to you without your specific, explicit permission? Did somebody throw it out there and you caught it? So, having looked at those questions, comes the next. Is the belief actually true? True, Seth writes, in the sense that it's falsifiable, verifiable, testable, predictive. Falsifiable means that the belief is specific enough that something contrary to the belief could be discovered. He writes, there are no orange swans is a falsifiable belief, because all we need to do is find one orange swan and the belief is all blown. It's not necessarily, of course, Seth writes, it is not necessarily scientifically true. It doesn't have to be. In fact, it undermines the very nature of belief to require evidence of it. Once there's evidence, then whatever is true, whether or not you believe it. I believe that the sun will rise tomorrow. I believe the sun is out right now. Verifiable and true. We all know that it's out there, don't we? So it's really not even a belief, it's a knowing. There's a difference. So the next question then becomes, does the belief meet your needs? Which means that much of what we do to somehow prove our beliefs are true is kind of wasted time and effort. Seth says if a belief is helping you make your way through the world, if it acts as a placebo and a balm and a rubric, then that might be sufficient. If it makes you feel better, if it helps you get out of bed in the morning, that might be enough. The problem, he says, occurs when some people begin to use our beliefs to manipulate us, when they prevent us from accomplishing our goals or contributing to the well-being of those around us. So, that belief that you're looking at, does it meet your needs? Or does it prevent them from being realized? That takes some serious self-examination. But I believe the time would be well spent. And you're not going to do it all while I'm jabbering away, so I hope you're taking notes. Or listen to the talk again, and I'll see if I can't sum things up at the end. So, if you determine that you are holding beliefs that are actually getting in your way, preventing you from living the life that you dream of, then Seth's final question is really quite simple. What would it take for you to change your mind? If we discover that we believe that our belief is actually true when in fact it may not be, do we not owe it to ourselves to be clear about what would have to happen for us to realize that it's not true? Seth says one of the frustrating things about conspiracy and modern memes is that as soon as they're examined or contradicted, they're very often simply replaced with a new variation. You change a couple of words and people go, oh, all right, I got that. It's one thing to change beliefs because a scientific method shows us a more clear view of what is really happening. It is totally different to retreat to ever more unrelated stories in the face of reality. We've all seen that. We've probably been guilty of it, but it's easier to spot in somebody else. Where a belief or an idea is met with opposition, met with facts, and the person just shifts a little bit, or shifts back a little bit, or pushes forward a little bit to take attention off the fact that, in fact, it ain't so. Sometimes, Seth says, it's easier for people to amend their belief with one more layer of insulation than it is to acknowledge that based on the way the world actually works, it is not true. Even if it was once assumed to be true. Even if it might be true again at some future date. If it is not true now, if it is not serving our lives and our dreams now, if it is not helping us move forward and filling us with joy now, if it is not true now, if it is not working now, what will it take to change your mind? Of course, you have to believe that you can change your mind. Remember, it's done unto you as you believe. And remember, since that is true, if you believe based on your experience that it's going to be hard to change your mind, then it's going to be hard to change your mind because it is done unto you as you believe. I'm starting to hear a chorus behind me now. But consider this, please. You change your mind all the time. Don't overthink this. In the face of facts, in the face of necessity, in the face of mere inconvenience, we change our minds all the time. 100-pound women who couldn't possibly do it lift cars off children who happened to have gotten underneath them. Hemlines go up and down. Tie widths go in and out, or ties just go out. Styles change. We may fight the change in the beginning. We may think it's stupid and pointless and irrational. But I'm guessing that a fair number of you own a pair of jeans that you bought with holes in them. Hairstyles, hair color, makeup application, the brand of beer you drink or the kind of milk. I'm still trying to figure out how they milk an almond, but I'm glad they do. How hard did you fight wearing a mask? How many do you own now? Make up your own list. Make up your own list of the zillions of things you have changed your mind about in your lifetime. You no longer feel that you have to wait for Mama to hold your hand when you cross the street. You changed your mind. Things changed. You may have stopped smoking at some point, and if you did that, you can do nearly anything. You may have stopped what? What? You had to change your mind. So you've been doing it all along. When we want it enough, when we need it enough, when we are clear enough that we are doing, thinking, feeling, and that's not working, then the desire for change outweighs the need to stay the same. And we change our minds. And that makes all the difference. My experience tells me that ultimately we actually change our minds in a moment. It just sometimes takes a little time to get to the moment. And a little pre-change exercise may help us get there. So here's a plan that may work for you. And it will, of course, if you believe that it will. Choose the belief that you know may be getting in your way. Start with one. Don't be an overachiever. Just start with one. You can go back and get them all if you want to. Then make a list of the pros and cons of that belief. Look at it closely. Is it helpful? Is it true today? Now, when you were 5 years old, it was important to hold Mama's hand when you crossed the street. Is it true today? Maybe not. How do you know that it's true today? Now, does the belief just numb you to reality, which may be enough for now? Or is it using you? Is it numbing you to everything? Is it preventing you from accomplishing your goals and dreams? And if it is, and you want to get on with your life, what could change your mind? What it all boils down to is this. Is the belief so sacred that you are unwilling to let it go? Or are you just so used to it that it's difficult to believe that you could carry on without it? Or have you simply not examined it, and the very fact that you're starting to examine it makes it go pop in your mind and makes you realize that it's not serving you? Which is great. That's the moment. That's the light switch moment. You know, you can sit in a room in the daylight and get a lot accomplished, can't you? But if you're there too long, the daylight begins to disappear slowly at first. You don't even notice that it's going. And especially if you're sitting at a computer that gives off its own light, you may not notice that the outside light's gone at all. More than once, Cactus walked into the room and said, "You're sitting in the dark." And I go, and then you turn the light on. What is more important to you at this moment in your precious life? Holding on to a belief that is not serving you, or getting on with your dreams? Only you can answer that question. Of course, the old adage may apply here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Those beliefs that are serving you, that are helping you create the life that you want to live, hold on to those babies. But if it isn't working, if it isn't supporting you in the accomplishment of your goals and the realization of your dreams, and especially, my friends, especially if it is not true or no longer true, why keep it around and allow it to clutter up your life? Thanks to the pandemic and the stay-at-home rules, we all have a little extra time on our hands and our minds right now. And if you have already sorted through the closet and cleaned out the junk drawer, then why not use that time to declutter your mind? Think especially about those areas that might need a little extra attention or a little boost. Those areas that are perhaps just not quite where you would have them be and might require a little extra grace. It is done unto you as you believe. So what are you thinking? What do you believe? Is it serving you? And what do you really want? You can change your mind in a moment. Ultimately, you will. You'll weigh this against that and make a decision. Ultimately. And ultimately can be today, tomorrow, or this moment. Ultimately, change your thinking, and you will change your life. That's my 2 cents worth for today, with a great deal of help from Seth Godin. Now I want to see what you guys have been saying over here. Hi, Heidi. Actually, Kak, that's an interesting question, but the truth really is a lot of religions interpret Matthew the way I just did. It's pretty hard to misinterpret. It's done unto you as you believe. That's what I like about Matthew. He's just right on clear. And some will just go around it and say, yeah, but that's not what he really meant. That's what he wrote. Paul's the one that we don't necessarily agree on. It's interesting stuff, isn't it? Yes. I love the word grace too, Jennifer. There's just something about even just saying it. It's almost like a one-word mantra. We say peace, but peace is so tangled up today in what that might mean. although it still works pretty well. But grace. Grace is like a one word prayer, isn't it? Trying to live in a state of grace all the time. Yeah, there's a challenge. Because that implies kindness, gentleness, an awareness of something greater, appreciation, gratitude. All of that is kind of, I think, tied up in the word grace. It's a beautiful word. You're beautiful people. It should come out of your mouths quite easily. I've got several of Seth's books. Which one would I recommend? I don't know. He's kind of nuts in a very good way. I'm looking at a little stack of them over here. He writes mostly, interestingly enough, about business and succeeding, being an achiever in business. But he's got such a spiritual overtone. Here's what I'd recommend. If you don't already get Tut, T-U-T, Google that and sign up for his daily stuff. There's a good starter point with Seth. His little daily things. Sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's one or two sentences. It always strikes home with me. Always. I mean, sometimes just on a light level of, yeah, got it. And on other levels, it's a whoo-hoo. I have a few of those that I've printed out and framed because they're life-changing, they're life-altering. And they are always positive, and they are always affirmative. They're always spirit-lifting, always. Tut, T-U-T. Seth Godin Cax already sent you that. Start with that, and then if you want more, you can sign up for his daily blog, which is a great way to ingest Seth. And then if you go to his website, there are several books and you could choose for yourself. Like I say, some of them are very business oriented. He talks about shipping things and the linchpin and it's hard to read sideways upside down. There's so many good ideas. You really can't go wrong. But go to the website and look at what he says. But sign up for Tut. I would recommend that to everybody if you haven't already signed up for Tut. Get Tut. It starts your day off beautifully, and it's never a lot of reading. It's usually one or two sentences, and it just makes you feel good. I love Jennifer's. It's hard. It will take too long. It's more than I can do. No, it won't. No, it isn't. Balance and grace. Nice. Marketing. Marketing, marketing, marketing. That's his real thing. But awesome. Awesome. And you'll be so glad you get the daily things. I just look forward to them. And they're an easy read. They're really an easy read. It's never like, well, I don't have time right now. You have time to read whatever Tut has to say because it's short and it's sweet and it's to the point, and most of the time it's like getting hit with a velvet covered cosmic 2x4. So there we go. I hope today's talk helped. I hope it gave you some pointers. It certainly seemed right to me. I love this man. I love his writing. He's right on. And I will share with him anytime I share him with you anytime I can, because I just think he's brilliant. Just brilliant. Love him. And love all of you, and I'm so grateful for you in my life. So grateful. Let's make the family even bigger, shall we? Let's invite other people in and in, invite them to be part of this. Who do you love that needs to hear some positive stuff? Hmm? Invite them. See, even with pandemics and social distancing and whatnot, if they've got a computer, they're welcome to our little family. So invite them. Share the videos if you'd like. I appreciate it when you do that, um, and many of you do, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for so much. For so much. You've given me kind of a second lease, so, I'm grateful. So let's take a moment, shall we? And let's pray, because it's such a lovely thing to do. So you know the drill. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. If not, just soft focus so that your attention goes within, because that's where the magic is. It's beautiful around and about us, I know that. It's a lovely day. It's a blue sky, at least here it is. It's tempting to look out, and if you've got a blue sky to look at, well, then you might want to turn your attention there, because that kind of works real well too. Just take a gentle breath. And breathe out tension or frustration or fear or anything that's getting in the way of your just being here now. If it's one of those days and there's still much to do, well, there'll still be much to do in a couple of minutes, and you'll be better for having pulled away from it. So here we are. Here we are in the presence of God, because there's no place else to be. And here we are in the awareness of God, because that's all that there is. Whether our eyes are open wide looking at the sky or gently closed and looking within, all that there is to see is spirit. All that there is. And since it is all that there is, it is all that we are. All that we are. Gentle spirit, loving spirit, creative spirit, joyous spirit, healing spirit, beautiful spirit. Spirit of grace and wonder and balance and peace and poise. All that we are, because it is all that there is. We are that. Like drops of water in the ocean, all that we can be is ocean. We need not be all of it, but we are a part of it. And today we celebrate that. And we become aware of the beauty and the grace and the wonder and the healing power within us. And we call upon that now in whatever area of our body, our minds, our lives that we might need any part of it. Healing, grace, understanding, peace, poise, power. And it responds. It responds instantly, powerfully. That which we need has now been given to us, has now been released from within us. And it is ours to use as we choose. Peace, poise, power, grace, understanding, love, solution, wisdom. Whatever it is we call forth now is ours because it has been awakened and released from within and is now ready to go forth into the world as we speak it. And I know for each of us that we simply have to say, I now use this power, strength, wisdom, understanding, whatever it is. I now use this to create a better world. To do what? To answer my prayer. What a joy it is to know that we need not create that, we need not manufacture it, we need simply to call it forth, and it will respond. This is a responsive universe. And we have a God that knows only good and creates only good. And so that which we call it forth to do in our name will be done. For that which we desire is the desire of the Father within us. And so we relax today in the knowledge that our prayers are answered. That we may go forth to do ever more good. Ever more good. And as we go forth, we know that we go with God, for we can go no other way. And so with grateful hearts, with very, very grateful hearts, we simply let go and let God, and let it be so. And so it is. And so it is. Two things to remember, I think. Two things. It is done unto you as you believe. So what you believe is critical and worth examining. And with God, all things are possible. And you really cannot be without God. So there. So there. You're welcome, Brenda. Thank you. Notes from the universe. Yes, Jen. Notes from the universe. Same thing. Good stuff. Heidi wants to know how the new member of the family is. He's adorable. He's just adorable. They said he was a miniature poodle. We took one look at him and went, nope, don't think so. Bichon mix, probably. What he looks like is a giant white teddy bear. Well, not a giant. He's hardly giant sized, but he's bigger than a miniature poodle. He's thicker. He's really very cute and very adorable and very sweet. Yay for those of you that have been subscribers to Tut. They're fabulous, aren't they? Uh-huh. Hi, Don. Love you too, sweetheart. Glad you are here. Listen to the replay. I think you'll like it. Miss you guys. Miss you guys. So, unless someone's got a question that I've missed, I think it's time to get on with our day. I've got a family Zoom meeting, so I get to see my kids. I see my kids more since the pandemic started than I ever did before. We have a weekly meeting. I get to see everybody, check up on the kids, check up on the kids, find out what everybody's up to. Turns out one of my grandsons, my youngest grandson, is turning into quite a chef. Quite a chef. And growing, oh my Lord. Love you guys. So very glad you're here. If you want to sum up those Seth's questions, go to his website and download the blog from... Shoot, I didn't write down the date. But it's called Dancing with Belief, and it's just a few days ago. Dancing with Belief. And he's got all of his questions there. So you could just get that and print it out. He's wonderful. He's wonderful. Everybody have an awesome week. Be happy. Be who you are. Be as godlike as you are capable of being. In the very best sense. Forget the vengeful, zealous, jealous guy. Be kind. Be loving to one another. Be creative. Get out there and make a difference. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Cac. Thank you. There's a link to the blog. She's so good about these things. Enjoy your life. Get to know Seth a little bit better this week. That's always a blessing. Have the most spectacular week, and hopefully I will see you on Wednesday. If not, back here next Sunday, same time, same bat channel, and make a difference in the world this week. Be who you truly are. And if you don't believe you're enough, change your belief.